The worst advice that you can give someone or take on yourself is to want something as much as physically possible. And people say all the time, the more that you want something, the more likely you are to achieve it. But I would actually argue that the complete opposite is true. I would say that the more that you want something and the more importance that you place on something, the harder it becomes to get that thing and to work towards it, because you're placing so much importance on it that it has such a negative impact on the way that you show up in trying to achieve that thing. Picture it like this. Imagine you're a single guy, maybe you are a single guy, who's been single for, let's say, 5 years, right? You probably in that situation place women and relationships on a very high pedestal, and you probably see them as this end all be all, the place where all your happiness and excitement and fulfillment sits. And if you can just get that thing, that everything in your life will be so much better. And as a result of that, whenever you have dates or whenever you talk to women, you freeze up, you get anxious, you overthink what you're saying. And every single element of the interaction just feels very mechanical and very inauthentic and overall just very shaky. And the reason for that is because, again, you're placing that person or that thing up on a pedestal. And as a result of doing that, you're placing so much emotional importance on that thing that the negative emotional reaction and the equal and opposite negative emotion of that desire is coming back at you. And this is a universal thing. The more importance that you place on something, the more that you sense a lack of it. Because here's the thing, think about it like this. If you want something, by definition, what you want is to not have that thing, right? So you currently don't have that thing and you no longer want to not have that thing. So desire is always a double negative. What that really means is when you want something, what you're really communicating to your brain is that you don't currently have it. And when you approach the things that you want from a position of lack and from a position of, I don't have that thing or I need that thing, again, you show up as very needy. And this is the same in business, it's the same in relationships, it's the same in a job interview or with friends that you're trying to make. The more importance that you place on it, the more that it's going to take you out of just authentic alignment with the pursuit of that thing. You're not going to be able to show up as who you normally are. You're not going to be able to take action on it without anxiety and that sense of lack and doubt crippling you in the process. And this all happens because when you place something up on a pedestal, you're essentially associating it with all of these upsides, all these benefits, all these things to be gained. And as a result of creating this dynamic where you just put it at such a high level of importance, you have to take on its equal and opposite. So you have to take on all of the lack, all of the negative equal and opposites of that thing. And so your reality gets depressed in relation to it. You have to take on all the equal and opposite negative forces. And so the problem here is ultimately that you have an obsession with a certain outcome. And it's because of the fact that you're obsessed on the outcome itself that you completely jeopardize and compromise your ability to pursue that thing. So think about it like this, as another example. Say this is you, and say this is the thing that you want. If you place all the importance, that was absolutely woeful stuff. If you place all of your importance on that thing, all of your focus is pretty much going to be offloaded to the outcome itself. And because of this gap, because of this sense of lack, all of the actions that you take towards it are going to be all just filled with anxiety all over the place. They're not going to be your highest quality work. You're not going to show up in the best way that you can. And this is especially true, as I said, when it comes to dating, when it comes to people, when it comes to that job interview, or even when you have a sale on the line and you need the money so bad. So you come into this sales call or this sales situation with all this lack and all this neediness. And people can smell neediness from a mile away. Women can smell it, especially if you're especially needy and trying to be this nice guy and putting on the best show. And the anxiety and neediness seeps through in the way that you behave, right? So what you really need to do instead is kind of forget about the outcome in a way and dissociate from it and detach from it. And how you can really do that is by starting to actually neutralize the thing itself and start to equal out all of these upsides and benefits on all these elations that you have towards it with an equal number of downsides and negatives. And essentially you're trying to neutralize and see that thing as it objectively is, because nothing is inherently all good, no bad. Everything's neutral. So you have to find that equal and opposite. But another thing that you have to do is to shift your focus away from the outcome and just shift it into the actual inputs that create that outcome. So rather than obsessing over this body that you want because it's going to be, it's going to bring you all this positive joy and all this positive affect and all the positive things that you want from your life because you think that you're going to look better, people are going to respect you more, all these different things that you've put on a pedestal along with having a great body. And instead of focusing on that, just focus on obsessing over the inputs, the going to the gym and falling in love with that process, the dieting and falling in love with that process, the getting your sleep dialed in and falling in love with that process. Because the more that you can obsess solely on the process itself, the more likely you are to take the right actions towards actually getting the outcome you want in the first place. So simply put, you really want to detach from the outcome and detach from obsessing about this thing, take it off its pedestal so that you can neutralize the dynamic between you and that outcome. Again, going through the process of looking at all the negatives, listing those down until you can truly see this thing isn't inherently good or bad, it's just a thing. And starting to, once you've detached from it, starting to just obsess over the inputs that create that thing. Because again, the inputs create the outputs. The output itself and the amount of focus that you place on it doesn't inherently bring the outcome itself. I know a lot of people talk about the law of manifestation and the law of attraction and all that. I don't believe in that at all. I truly believe in cause and effect, which means that the inputs create the outputs. So if you just obsess about the inputs and you fall in love with the inputs and you put all of your energy into the inputs and you completely let go of the need for the outcome, the likelihood is that you're going to be more likely to get it anyway. So that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe. I'll leave another video here for you, and I'll see you in the next one.